Hello, everyone, and welcome to Tech Talk Friday. As you can see, Roshan, I'm not Roshan, I'm Shashi Kesavan. I'm actually I actually tell stories through video, and I also produce podcasts for Leaderonomics. So Roshan will be in shortly. So if you are a regular viewer of Tech Talk, I just want to briefly welcome you to the show again. Thank you for joining in. If you're a new viewer, just like to tell you that Tech Talk Friday is a show where we discuss all things technology with two really fascinating co-hosts that share the spotlight on screen and also have regular and also new guests each week. So let me bring in Karam, who is our co-host today. And Karam, welcome to this week's Tech Talk Friday. It's on a public holiday for Selangor.
Hey, really? I didn't know.
It's a public holiday today.
What's the holiday today? I didn't know that.
Sultan Selangor's birthday, actually.
Really? Oh man, may he have
How
more than
can you
one
not know
birthday
this,
in a year,
Karam?
man. When you get caught up in work, right? So, but hey, you were wrong in your intro. Me and Roshan, we don't share the spotlight. We are fighting for the spotlight. Okay, so I'm just overjoyed today because I don't have to compete with Roshan. But
I didn't want to scare our new viewers who are coming in. There's not going to be like any too much fights going on. But yes, Karam, let's maybe you can introduce what today's show is going to be about.
Howie Chang is one of our current actually Gujarati 50 entrepreneurs in the 2020-2021 batch. And Howie is interesting because he has been an entrepreneur for quite a while. But before he became an entrepreneur, he actually worked for some of the top startups in the region and actually out of Singapore. He was based in Singapore for at least about 7 years, and he was working with those of you who may remember this grocer, one of the early grocers called Red Mart, and he was actually the head of UX. So he's a design guy, visually how layout should look for apps and for websites also. And then before that, he was with Viki. And Viki is like you say you tell stories through video. Viki is actually a video platform which was ended up it was bought by Rakuten from Japan. So Howie has got very good experience with top companies, and then he decided to come back to Penang, Malaysia, because he's a Penangite. And then in Penang, he's running one of the state government digital-based initiatives, and had two small companies doing stuff on the side. Then he decided that this is a big pain point that he wanted to solve. Shashi, I almost call you Roshan because I said no, this guy looks way better looking than Roshan. It cannot be Roshan, Shashi. So, and he decided to still look. He wants to run and manage a school that produces relevant and competent, technical graduates. Okay. And that's his core mantra, and not just technical, but also design. He's got various courses, Forward School. You can actually go to forwardschool.co and have a look at it. And what's interesting also is that Shashi, he managed to get 5 very interesting investors to become his angels, right? And I think, and if you go to the article on DNA and you read it, I think 4 of them are very well-known names in the Malaysian tech space. Right? One of them is the founder of Vitrox. Right? Vitrox is one of the leading machine vision companies in the world. Jen is the founder, and he's running it. Then he also got money from Chan, who runs Exabytes, and that's one of the leading Southeast Asian-based web hosting digital companies. And he's also got a third founder who is actually the CEO of one of the leading data center companies in Malaysia. Right? So he's doing a lot of interesting things, and because he's trying to disrupt education and make it right, it'll be interesting to hear how this year has been for him. So that's why we want to get Howie on the show.
I think from your usual introduction of our guests, today is quite a record. I think you made it under 5 minutes. Usually it's about 10 and above. So let's bring Howie in.
Roshan's always heckling me while I'm trying to talk. I can never talk smoothly.
Okay, let's bring Howie into the studio.
Hi. I was laughing all the way in the back office. But great to be here. And thanks, Karam and Sashi, for having me on the show. Of course, Roshan as well. So yeah, I'm here. I will be glad to share insights that I've gleaned. Also, how we are doing this year. You can grill me, Karam.
Okay.
Not an
I
issue.
guess you talked about so your forward school is the solution to a pain point you see, right? So now that you've already planned it, you've already executed, right? So as people say, the wheels, the rubber has hit the road. What has been the experience of running the programs? Of course, in the COVID era, but you're lucky because yours are technical-based programs, right? So it's probably a seamless move to go online. So tell me how the impact has been, the response from the market to your programs, and how are the students progressing? And I also forgot to mention that you've done something very good also, is that you've already got industry players who are waiting to absorb these students when they come out. That's almost like the German TVET model, right? Although the German TVET model is you get hired by a company first, and then you're learning on the job. 75% on the job you're learning, they're paying you to learn, and 25% in an institution. I know, and I was told by the German Chamber of Commerce, no country in the world has it right except for Germany, and they all struggle for various reasons. But yours seems to be a bit of a play of that. So, tell us how it's been.
Yeah, it's been. I guess the pandemic has definitely an impact on everyone, across board, across sector. And I think from an education standpoint, education industry standpoint, it definitely has an impact, both negatively as well as positively. On the negative side, as much as I'm running a school, and sometimes I seldom share about this, right? When people ask me, are you an ed tech, right? My answer to that is yes and no, right? Nowadays, when you talk about ed tech, a lot of people are focusing on the platform, right, or on the software itself that will accelerate and improve education. But on myself, as for Forward School, it is both. It is both an ed tech as well as tech ed, right? It's education tech and technology in education. It's a different thing. I see it, and so we see ourselves also, not so much on tech side as well, though we are very much tech. So it does impact us from a perspective that across board, I think parents and students are being very cautious when they are enrolling in any school. The reason across board is also definitely because of the pandemic. So they will, rather than enrolling now, what they are thinking is that maybe I can enroll in the next intake, right? Or I can enroll later. Let the pandemic blow over first, and then and the reason why it's because some parents they might be thinking, I have to pay, and then what? My kids will be studying at home online. So in their mind is that they are thinking it might not be worth it, right? But as what we have observed, for this year, it seems like the pandemic is here to stay. So things are picking up slowly. So parents are, they see it as, okay, the pandemic it's going to stay. I'll have to make a decision. And a lot of them are starting to come on board, and they are starting to enroll themselves, and accept the fact that this is the new normal. So I think initially we started actually early this year, March. We moved into our campus, and then as we all know, April is where the MCO kicks in. So basically, we are technically, founded right in the middle of the pandemic. But it has definitely built a certain level of resiliency in us. It has tested my, grit level. And I must say that we are gaining momentum. I'm happy to say that this year alone has taught us a lot. And just so to give you an idea, we came in March, and then we actually have an intake in March itself. So we have to call that off because due to the pandemic, the MCO and all. And then our second intake is June. We have 3 intakes a year, June. And I made the hard decision to just go ahead, no matter how small the number is, because I felt that we just needed to get going. And so we did that, and we actually started with 6 students.
Nice.
And our recent intake in October, we almost doubled it to 11 students.
Wow.
And we look forward to March to hitting our target of at least 25 students. So we are quite optimistic that things are getting back on track. It's definitely not easy. And in terms of the numbers, I'm only sharing one of our program, which is our 2 years applied software engineering program.
This is your nitro degree, right?
Correct. And you have to understand that this is non-accredited. Yeah.
Oh, it's not a what? Oh, it's not accredited. Okay.
Yeah. So we have learned a lot this year.
So, but this is not accredited. But I think this is the one where you're matching it with sponsorship, job sponsorship, right? That's a job placement, right? And I think supposed to be minimum salary of 3,000 ringgit.
Yes.
Is that still on?
Yes, that's going on. We have a program for that. And I think this is what generally the industry and our partners, our hiring partners and students really value about our program, because from semester 2 onwards, right? For example, how we are building them up is that from semester 2 onwards, 1 out of the 5 days in school, they are attached to a company. So we don't have the concept of where you have to wait until there's an internship period and you go for a month to 3 months, but rather we see it as really part of our curriculum. And so students are being sent out from semester 2 onwards.
So are they always, will they be attached to the same company every one day out of the week, or they'll be moving companies? No.
We try to switch them every semester. So it's not every week different companies. That'll be a little bit too disruptive.
Definitely disorientating also. Okay, that's interesting. So you have this program, this your nitro degree where this 3,000 ringgit is guaranteed, right? If students come in, huh?
Yes, if they are so just to qualify, if they are part of the student sponsorship program. So we have a program, so not everyone will have this job guarantee. We will pre-select.
But is it because there are not enough companies wanting to be part of this program? Because I guess you need the demand first from the employers, right? Is that where now you're trying to overcome and convince them, hey, more of them should be part of this, your 2-year nitro degree?
That's one. 2 is also because when a company guarantees you a job, they would want students of a certain quality. So obviously, it's both ends. Yes, we need more companies to be coming on board, and also at the same time, we also need to level up in terms of us finding these students for them. But I think we are progressing well.
I think when you tell me that, when I hear that the companies, if they want to guarantee a person a job, they want them to be of a certain quality, that indicates to me still the old mindset. If they are, this in this COVID world now, this is the best time, the cheapest time, some of the thought leaders say, to do something different, right? Companies should just say that they like what you're doing, especially in Penang, and trust that at the end of the 2 years, the talent that they employ on day 1 will be that ready talent for them in at the end of year 2, and partly because of their engagement with the talent and what you're doing with them. I hope that companies start seeing that, actually, because the way you're describing it, companies are still in the old mindset where I want to hire Karamjit, but how will I know that 2 years from now is going to be good talent, right? So I hope you can do your part to break that old mentality, of employers,
right. Working on it. But I must clarify that, Karamjit, because I think because they are also sponsoring the student, so the student paid 0. But
correct.
You're right. So I think working on it.
Yeah. I mean, your credentials are good. I forgot to mention. Look, you were even a professor, right? Oh no, sorry. You were a lecturer at the Singapore Polytech.
Yes. I'm a young lecturer, so I do.
Okay. So you're familiar with this, right? And I hope that the ecosystem there trusts that you will be able to, fine tune and hone the students, right, together with the company's involvement on a weekly basis, like to produce the kind of talent that they want to hire.
Yes.
Otherwise it sounds like you'll end up being the same old thing. Companies will say only if the person is good, I'll hire them. Right. And that's not the German model. So good. Right. But Andy, you mentioned that this time period also has challenged your grit, right? And I think in the article I also remember you saying that one of the largest lessons you learn is on determination, right? And you use the sports and athlete analogy that you have to go through grueling training, and a big part of that will to suffer, because you have to suffer, comes through self-leadership. Yes. And it's tough to be, to be determined and to be leading yourself at all times. So Roshan would have jumped on this point you're making. So how do you manage to pull it off? Is it because you're coming into this venture already a seasoned executive, right? You're not new, like below 30 years old. You don't have, you've got a lot more life experience. So you know that pain is part and parcel of, trying to be a successful entrepreneur, or even just being an entrepreneur.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think on top of that, the motivation to starting up, I think the motivation needs to be at the right place, And when we talk about the motivation, then we are talking about the heart needs to be at the right place. I think a lot of people are getting into entrepreneurship as well as starting up, with the wrong reason, right? To start with. And there's a lot of reasons, right? There's no one particular reason, but I think that really, really helps me. And it's also, in the article, I was also talking about, when people, give you money to start up, right? Essentially, what that is they trust you, right? Yeah, they are putting their trust in you. And I think
you've got 2 million ringgit worth of trust from your 5 angels.
So if from that perspective, one needs to take that very seriously, right? And you're right to say that my prior experience, as well as in terms of all the experience that I've been through, does give me a certain maturity to kind of really understand, what that trust really is. And when I decided to do this, then it's 110%.
Yeah.
On top of all the greed and everything, that's a given, right? If you look at any successful people, right, it's Angela Duckworth, that wrote the book Greed. He's also actually the creator, the designer. He drew this iceberg illusion, right? Where above the sea, above the surface, it's a very majestic iceberg. But what's below it, right? It's years and years of experience, greed, discipline, and hard work. Yeah. So
I think for some of our listeners who maybe not sure about, I've never heard of Forward School and stuff like that, right? How would you describe or explain how Forward School actually is helping or solving a problem today?
I think for Forward School, one of our biggest differentiation and value proposition is the fact that we focus a lot on applied education. Nowadays, in terms of schools, whether is it private or public, and it is not a Malaysia thing, or it's globally. Globally, universities and traditional education institutions tend to over-academize their programs. But you have to understand why it is so. It is so because what's driving them, their primary KPI is actually on research, which has its place, which is important. And their KPI is basically the number of papers that they can write that get published in a journal. That's what's driving them. And that's fine and that's needed, right? But in the digital economy, more often than not, the talent that we need requires one to have an applied knowledge on. We still need the researchers, and people who write papers and doing R&D and all that. But I think we need to balance it up. And that's where I think Forward School can come in. And another differentiation is that we see our organization and our school as employer informed and employment as a norm, right?
Okay.
What we are saying, why we are saying that is that I think a lot of institutions are not, thinking hard enough to solving this end to end. There are good initiatives, but I think for us here at Forward School, this would be our main differentiation.
All right, thanks for sharing, Howie. Karam, you want to?
Yeah, I think, Howie, you mentioned that one thing you learned from Silicon Valley is that entrepreneurs are too in love with the idea, and you said that you were comfortable pivoting. So have you done any pivots yet, or it's too early for you to say that we need to pivot on something?
I think we are in a space where the problem is real. So I don't particularly, you pivot only when you can't really find a product market fit, right? But at this point in time, I think we are solving the right problem. Both for the students, the industry, as well as the digital economy as a whole, in terms of providing talents and all. So I would say that I think we are still very much on track. But I think the pandemic does forces us to look further down into the future and have some level of scenario planning that before this we were quite, I would say that we were quite relaxed, right? I think this pandemic has really taught us to be increasingly paranoid, and a paranoia is good in a way.
Okay, so you're lucky you raised 2 million ringgit, and I think 2 million ringgit, especially in Penang, goes a long way, right? So that gives you a nice runway. So you're hoping at least to hit the minimum number of students next year. But I guess in the meantime, what are you trying to do to deepen your engagement with employers so that you get more people? I really like the Nitro program where you get employees to commit from the beginning, because that will change the way we look at education, right? Or look at talent. So companies are 2 years ahead planning that. I know I've got four kids, right? Today they're children or teenagers lah. I know 2 years from now they're going to come out. They're going to be ready to contribute to me right away, and that's actually, as an employer, I would think that'd be exciting for me. And you also then know that you're going to get them the way they can come and start running on the job. So what are you trying to do to get more employers on board so that you've got a bigger pipeline of the demand side, right? They want this.
Right. I think at this point in time, one of the biggest challenge is, when people, companies want talent, they want it now, right? Or they want it yesterday, and when they come to me, and in fact, there are a lot of companies that are coming to us right now, right? They say, Howie, do you have talent? I need it now, right?
No.
So, but I think we are trying to engage companies and, and encouraging them to think 2 years before, take the time and effort, and resources to build up your talent pipeline, right? And what surprises me is, and these are generally medium-sized and large-sized companies, right? A lot of them are still not having that kind of mindset. So for us is that we are going on the ground, and we are really explaining to them the benefits of planning ahead. And at the same time, we also have a few products that's in the pipeline as we speak to companies and all that. And because we are thinking about it end to end, right? We have a product in the pipeline where we think that will really help the companies to attract talents via our platform. And we call it a virtual experience. It's like a virtual internship, but I'm not trying to use the word internship, but it's more of an experience, because in the pandemic has showed us that increasingly everything is going virtual. Through our platform, we hope to enable companies to have a tool that allows them to engage potential talents by giving them a preview or a glimpse of what is it like working in their company. And included in this path, right, or experience, students or anyone who are interested in this company will be exposed to the specific role that they are promoting. And at the same time, they are also required to go through a certain task. And one of the things that companies really like about what we have is our in-house aptitude test. For every it's a programming aptitude test.
Oh, okay.
Before a student can comes in, they will have to take the test first. In fact, to us, that's very important.
Okay.
And you can do it online and all that. So a lot of corporates, they are asking, hey, can we use your test, to put it in front of our potential hires, right? We are reviewing their resumes, but anyone can write a very nice resume. But we want to have a quicker, faster way of filtering off our talents and and so that we can laser focus and save time and money. So this is how this product came about as well. So we are trying to help companies end to end, and this is I'm sharing this because this is also one of the ways that we are engaging the companies, and as we are engaging them in this way, they are exposed to our programs. They are exposed better to our programs, and what it means to kind of really start building up your talent pipeline.
Understood. Okay.
Thank you, Howie. Yeah,
I wanted to ask you, sorry, one more thing about competition, because when I hear you talking, it sounds a bit like what 42KL especially is doing, right? Although they are based in Kuala Lumpur and you are physically in Penang, and I think when we have COVID behind us, or with the vaccine becoming a part of everyone's life, your preference is to still have on physical classes, right?
Yes.
42KL preference. So you guys, it's like they want to control central market, you want to take the northern market.
Yes, for us is we value face to face. So ours is a blended approach. So it's both online and offline, and we still think very strongly that in terms of the content delivery, the time that you have face to face, it's important. Also because we are getting in from 5 school leavers. So
that young, huh?
Yes, that young. So but in the end of the day, I think when it comes to competition, I don't see, because you mentioned it, I don't see 42KL as a competitor at all. And even if it's a different segment. So for example, we are working towards accreditation, right? And we are focusing more on the long form format, which is ours is 2 years.
So isn't theirs around the same also?
Theirs is a year.
42KL.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes. So we don't generally see them as a competitor, but even if the external party sees us as one, I think competition is good, and I think the more the merrier, in the sense that it will help me save my marketing costs.
Oh, yeah, of course they are basically educating the market. So you're right, and then also there's also, honestly, to me, because it's being offered for free, but it sounds a bit, and the word elitist comes to mind, but it's not elitist, but the bar seems to be so high, because it feels like you've got to be already gifted naturally to be a coder, or technically, a designer, right? Before you get in, because they make you do tests and all that, right? And you are expected to go in. And I think you're competing with hundreds of people, so the bar is high to get those free scholarships. So I'll be and they were actually very happy with the response they got this year. So I'm hoping that when they do 2 intakes a year, you can see whether the volume increases or not. But also, if you are familiar, I think you're familiar a lot of the things that MDAC does also, right? MDAC's got its My Maker program, right? And you've got coding being taught in schools also. And now they've got the Digital Ninja program, which I'm especially interested in, because that's
brilliant effort on the front. Yes,
that's like your 42K. That's like the best of the public school system students, right?
Yes.
And then the MDEC wants to find them and corral them, put them together for a 2-week program and sharpen their skills, somehow inspire them, motivate them. Those are the kind of kids who will then be applying to 42KL, right, for their free technical education.
Right.
And so there's a bit of a pipeline going. So hopefully the Digital Ninja program is one where they've got hundreds of students, right, applying and taking part. So you can see like the cycle starting to happen, right, in a virtual, in a positive manner. So
yes,
and self-feeding also. So interesting to see how that happens.
Karam, I'm sorry I have to cut you off. I think thank you so much, Howie, for sharing. I think when you mentioned virtual internship, I was like, oh no. I had experience with that this year with a few interns, and it was actually kind of very, very so challenging for me to actually to interact and get in touch with the interns, and having them fully virtual was really scary. Actually, I was thinking, what am I supposed to do? I mean, how are these interns feeling, and how are they going to actually experience the culture and everything? So very quickly, actually, Karam, we also have another guest today. But before we bring in our next guest, we're just going to take a quick break with a short video.
Okay.
Okay, welcome back. And that was actually our app, Nicole. And you can go to nicole.app and actually visit it to find out more. It's actually a revolutionary learning app that is it'll be really beneficial for you if regardless of whether you're a working student or you're now just entered the working world, or you're already in the working world for some time, and management as well. It is really helpful. So Karam, so let's introduce our next guest.
Okay. So I've actually Dr. Siva merits a whole show talking to him, because he's I consider him one of the pillars of Malaysia's startup entrepreneurship ecosystem. He's done a lot. He's been doing a lot, and he continues to do a lot, as he should. And but the reason why I didn't bring him in to talk about his many entrepreneurial pursuits, actually brought him on because something interesting happened this week, which is that it was announced that Malaysia has won the rights. I think we bid for it, so to host one of the leading tech conferences in Asia for sure, and this is called RISE, RISE. It's been held in Hong Kong all this while, but from 2022 to 24, a 3-year period is going to be held in I assume it's going to be in Kuala Lumpur all 3 years, although I'm sure Howie will want to bring it to Penang for one of the years, so we'll see. But so this is a conference that, when it's held in Hong Kong, they get about 16,000 people from all over the world, including locals, right, attending the conference. And I think the PCOM sent out a press release to say that they were excited. No, they used the word thrilled. They said they're thrilled that MDEC, together with them and MySAB also, which is the Malaysian Convention Exhibition Bureau, has managed to bring RISE to Malaysia over a 3-year period, and they expect that it will generate 123 million ringgit of economic impact across the 3 years. And of course, that's from the tourism part of it. The tech part, I don't know, but there is a hope that with all these players coming into the country, of course, they'll spend time to meet local players, and they'll get to know the local ecosystem. And you'll see a lot more collaboration happening. And MDEC, of course, is hoping that a lot more investment into Malaysia will happen, because they'll then come and realize that, hey, Malaysia has a very interesting tech ecosystem, right? And they're amazing entrepreneurs, out-of-the-box entrepreneurs. And this is a space that maybe they're going to build in to launch their venture from, instead of being in Indonesia, which has got, it's 250 million market, or in Singapore, which is already well established as a mature economy in this region. So wanted to bring in Siva to get his perspectives, whether he thinks this is good, bad, or he's neutral about it. So let's have Siva on the show now.
Thanks, Karam. Thank you for all the very, very kind words.
No, you only need to remember, you got to keep working harder, okay? That's the most important thing.
There goes my retirement.
Yeah. You only retire once we hit 3 unicorns and you've invested in 2 of them. That's your threshold.
Okay, that's my KPI. Okay.
Yeah, for 2 out of 3 unicorns. So, but
Wow.
anyway, so look, you know about this rise coming here, and I wanted to get your thoughts on whether you feel it will be beneficial. And bearing in mind that I think in 2011, Dash Dakshinamurthy brought in Silicon Valley goes to KL, I think, or Malaysia.
Comes to Malaysia.
That had a lot of people excited, and we were hoping there would be a follow-on effect or momentum, but we didn't bring in the event the next year because I think of a cost issue. So here it's great that it's for a 3-year period, and I think it was triggered from what I hear. The PICOM were the ones who first broached the idea to MDEC, say we should bring this in because we think plus it can help the ecosystem. And of course, the ecosystem today, Siva, is way stronger and deeper than it was in 2011 or 12. So, and you've been a key part of that also. So, what are your thoughts on RISE, and what do you believe whether it can make an impact for Malaysia with all these people coming into the country and mingling and and partying here and getting to know the locals and hopefully falling in love with some of the men and women of Malaysia and saying I want to base my life here, build my life from here.
I get a bit worried when you say coming to Malaysia, partying here, marrying the locals.
No, as part of RISE, you've got your nightclub, pub crawl scene and all that, so so it's part of the social thing also. So, but you make connections and you never know it forms on a deeper basis. But there's some of things that can happen. But let's assume nobody falls in love with anyone, but they just fall in love with Malaysia as a great place for them to build a great company from. I don't know. What do you think?
Okay, I'm sure they'll fall in love with Malaysia. Who doesn't? I must say, congratulations to PICOM and MDEC for bringing RISE to Malaysia. RISE is one of the most talked about conferences, although not many Malaysians have attended. I myself have not had a chance to attend, but I've had a few friends who have attended, and they loved it. They always talk about the good stuff, but a lot of the stuff is related to the people who are speaking at the conference itself, the parties after the conference, and so on, right? I think it's good, right? There is no doubt that bringing a conference of this magnitude and being the biggest in Asia, 60,000 people, it will put Malaysia on the map. There's no doubt, right? So that's really good. And you talked about Silicon Valley coming to Malaysia. It helped, Americans especially, right, to know more about Malaysia. So that's a positive thing, right? I think it's good for Malaysia. So kudos to PICOM, MDEC, and all the other partners that brought RISE in, right? But my concern really is not about just bringing the event, right? My concern is, what do we hope to achieve beyond just hosting that event, right? I know they talked about the value in terms of tourism and all of those stuff, right? But that's short-term value. Yes, we'll have it over 3 years. Not bad, it's good, okay? But for me, it's about what is the benefit to the tech ecosystem, okay? So it's not just about tourism. So if you look at Malaysia, for example, right? I mean, you want these people to come in here. So you'll have investors from around the world, you'll have entrepreneurs from around the world, you'll have, whether it's the bureaucrats or, leaders from around the world coming to Malaysia, right? What are they going to see in Malaysia? What are we going to showcase in Malaysia? What are we going to show them about Malaysia? And I don't want it to be about, the food and the sites and stuff like that. Right? What do we need to show them? And what kind of outcomes do we want from, hosting 3 years of RISE? Okay? So one of my friends was just recently telling me, if you look at Hong Kong and they hosted RISE and all that, how many unicorns are there in Hong Kong? Despite having RISE there, right? So, it's probably like 1 or 2, right? If at all, right? And most of them probably Chinese companies, right? Not really Hong Kong companies, right? Group is probably one of them. So if you look at it, right, I think my thinking is this. Fantastic, you're bringing RISE to Malaysia. You're bringing all of these people to Malaysia. What do you want them to see? What do you want them to do? What do you want them to contribute back to Malaysia, Malaysian ecosystem, Malaysian entrepreneurs, Malaysian investors, and so on, right? I think we need to think about what those long-term benefits are. How can we create an ecosystem, for example, that will be stronger because of 3 years of RISE? Because if you look at the ecosystem today, I mean, you said, yes, its ecosystem is stronger. How would you define stronger? It's a lot of people can say, yes, it's stronger, but is it really? How many unicorns do we have in Malaysia? Forget about unicorns. how many $100 million companies?
Yes.
Right? How many companies can even get to a level of making 100 million ringgit in revenue? Forget about US dollars.
Yes.
So, we had MSC Malaysia from 1996-97. That's like 24 years of MSC. And we still don't have this $100 million company, right? And if you look at it, the ecosystem is still quite weak. We may have some positives. If you look at it around the region and so on, we may have some positives. But on the whole, if you ask entrepreneurs on the ground, okay, you ask investors as well, they will say the ecosystem is actually quite weak, right? And if you look at it, for example, we want to showcase Malaysia as a startup nation. I'm sure when all of these people come in and say, hey, Malaysia is a great startup nation. If you're an entrepreneur, we want you to set up in Malaysia. If you want to serve Southeast Asia, Malaysia is the best place to be. We always say this, right?
Yeah.
But Malaysia has a lot of weaknesses. We have talent weaknesses, for example, right? There are so many Malaysian tech companies that employ people from employ non-Malaysians. I know Howie was on earlier, right, talking about tech talent and so on,
Yeah.
But when you talk about high-level tech talent, we still have to bring in people from abroad, or we hire people from abroad. So talent is an issue, right? If you talk about even funding, I've been a real outspoken critic about funding.
Yeah.
Funding is extremely weak in Malaysia. We probably have good early stage funding, right? You have Cradle, you have some angels who do early stage funding. That's okay. Maybe even pre-Series A kind of funding is fine. But that is not going to help us, because once the company get to a Series A and then we have no Series B and Series C, they're all going to leave Malaysia. So the funding ecosystem is extremely weak. The talent ecosystem is still quite weak, right? We have good policies in some ways, but I think the execution of some of these policies is not great. Like 2 years ago, we came up with a corporate investment tax incentive, where if corporates put money into a venture capital fund, they can get a tax break. It's not out today. So I think our failure really is not about policies; it's about the execution of some of these. Right? So I think it's nice that we are bringing RISE to Malaysia. But I think, somebody or some people need to think through, what do we want to achieve from RISE? How can we maximize the benefit of RISE? And how can we, in the next 18 to 24 months, create this ecosystem or enhance this ecosystem? Right? So that, the people, the visitors that come in for RISE will look at Malaysia and say, wow, this is a great place. I didn't know this is such a great place. You've got great policies. You have fantastic talent, and entrepreneurs will say, hey, I want to go to Southeast Asia. I'm going to start in Malaysia. Right? Now, that's the kind of stuff that I think, the thinking that needs to happen now. And then for the 3 years that RISE is in Malaysia, we will be held in Malaysia. What are we going to do for those 3 years? How are we going to capture all the fantastic benefits that's going to come from 16,000 people a year coming to Malaysia? How are we going to capture all of this? And beyond RISE, what next for us, right? How do we create this market access and get more people to actually adopt Malaysian technologies or buy Malaysian technologies? Because if you talk about ecosystem, even in Malaysia, the local corporates are just not buying Malaysian technology. Now, how can we be a tech powerhouse if that's not happening either? So I think it's great. Bringing RISE is great, but I think we need to think through, what do we really want out of RISE, and how can we showcase the best of Malaysia, and not just showcase it, but create the best of Malaysia, so that the people that come in for RISE will really think about making Malaysia their home base if they want to grow companies out of it.
True. I think that the 3-year period is good, because people will come the first year, and then when they come again the next year, they probably want to see what's different, right? So if you can show growth, right? But that's once they're here, and you hope they come back the next year or year 3, then they can see the progression of the ecosystem. But even as you were talking about what can we show them, it's like, I think you've got RISE now, and you've got to use that to light the fire under all the various ecosystem players to say that, from now you got to just run way faster to keep building what you're building, or execute on what you said you're going to execute, right?
Yes.
Because then we've got something tangible to show them. You're right, because a lot of these players will be coming from various parts of the world, right? And they already have a certain level of maturity of their own ecosystem, so they're going to compare. So we got to show that what we're offering them is as good, if not better. It has to be better, right?
It has to be much better. It has to be far better.
Yeah, you're right. So in a way, they have I hope the policymakers don't think rice is all enough, and it's not. And it's important for guys like you, for the media, also for people like me to say, you've given yourself a huge challenge. Now you got to meet that challenge, right? It's easy to just bid and convince them and put some money on the table. Okay, 3 years, right? Yeah. And then put out a statement to say there'll be $123 million of multiplier effect, right? For over the 3 years. But we want there to be a multiplier effect on the ecosystem, right? The robustness, and a lot more, of our talent going into the technology sphere. So I think this will definitely be a trigger, light a fire under everybody's butt, to be blunt.
And I think that the government itself, right? I mean, the many different parts of government, right? Not just the agencies, but government ministries, government agencies, right? Yeah. They need to actually say, hey, we have this great opportunity, what can we as a government do? And they should start engaging with the ecosystem, right? They should start engaging with investors, with ecosystem players, with entrepreneurs to say, guys, we're bringing 16,000 people a year, and this might be, some fantastic investors and really good startups and stuff like that. What do you need from us? And how can we do things better for you so that you will be able to take advantage of this and, build those $100 million companies? You talk about $123 million benefit, why can't we create, $100 million companies out of this, even if it's not in the beginning of Rise, by the end of it, right? So that we can boast about our tech companies and not just the value that went to hotels and this kind of stuff, right?
Yeah. Okay, that's interesting. I think, Siva, when you're talking also about the talent, I feel that we do have good quality talent, but it's not enough because everybody's looking for talent. And when you say everybody, because there's so many more companies out there now, right? They may be small, maybe only have 4 or 5 people, some have 15, 20, Aerodyne has got in the hundreds. But, 3 years ago, Aerodyne wasn't looking for people. Now they're an employer in the hundreds and they want more people. So the demand for very good talent among the local ecosystem also is growing. And I think it's a function of our local companies also, trying to build further, right? So I just want to put my thought on it. Because when you say we don't have enough talents, it seems like it's an absolute thing. But I think the demand has been outpacing the growth of our talent, and hopefully you see more people, deciding that they want to build their careers in this space, right? 42 KL with, Forward School, and I think Ralph Marshall invested in one out of Boston, right? What is it called? I forget the academy. What's something? Is what that?
GA.
GA Academy, right? Yeah. So there are a lot of things going on, and hopefully more people get involved,
But Karan, we have had 24 years since MSc Malaysia, and we're still talking about lack of talent. That's an indictment on our policy.
How bad it is.
I don't think I would disagree. I don't think it's as bad because look, every country I talk to, they say they don't have enough talent. The leading country in the world, US, they, as soon as Trump's ass is out of the White House and they defungicize this from the Odo and all that, the first thing they're going to do is increase the B2 visas, right, to like 300,000. So the best country in the world for innovation technology is screaming for talent. What more us, right? So I don't think there's anything wrong. Siva, you say some of our companies look for talent outside. Because there's a huge global demand. Let's get the talent in there. Let's try to keep our good talent in the country. So because we are a country of only 32 million, right? 33 million. So we got to just we
got to cut the conversation. Unfortunately, we are coming to the top of the hour already. But I mean, I think Karam, your point is valid. I think the issue is market transition, right? Whenever there's like technology and whenever there's market transition, there's never going to be enough talent because it's about upskilling and reskilling and enabling people to move to this new level.
Back in the because talent, he also can chip in. Can you bring Howie back in?
So
okay, we're talking about talent and leaving you out of it.
And no, I think before we jump into a final closure of the dialogue, I just want to have a quick time for us to do Test the Guest Challenge because we have to do Test the Guest Challenge every round, right? And this is Howie and Dr. Siva, we have to test you. So you've got literally 30 seconds to answer. So don't linger longer, right? I don't know if that's a word, linger, but don't linger longer.
From the guy whose Twitter handle is Lepaka, I think Langer is fine now, okay?
So it's a new word and it's a cool word. Okay, so what I say is cool. Okay, so here's the challenge. Question number 1. Dr. Siva first. If you had a time machine and could change one thing in the past, what would it be and why? And Howie, you can answer after that. So Dr. Siva,
I think the one thing I would change is better execution for our country. right? Execution of policies. Because if you look at MSc Malaysia, when we started MSc Malaysia, we were far ahead of everybody else,
Yeah,
but over the last years, we kind of lost out. So I think better execution would be really, really better.
Yeah, and maybe you're also thinking about executing some of the people that don't execute so well. We'll keep that conversation for another time. Okay, Howie, what would you do when you have a time machine?
If I have a time machine, I would go back and probably no, I have no idea.
No idea. All right, never mind. We'll pass. You missed one. Okay, what is the worst part of being in tech?
Howie first, since you didn't answer the last question.
Right. The worst part of being in tech is that
having to face the
no, I think the worst part of being tech is assembling the right team to execute on it.
Okay.
Yeah.
We like the word execute, team, and so on. So okay, good. The team is team, getting the right team. Okay. And Dr. Siva?
I think the worst part in tech is there are high expectations from everyone that tech is going to change their lives. And I think this is what the biggest challenge is for tech companies, right? High expectations and changing people's lives and changing the way people work. And I think we need to we need to get them to meet those expectations.
Right. So expectations, fantastic. Name the best tech company in Malaysia today. Anything, anyone. Maybe not Top Glove. Anyone else?
Best tech company.
In your eyes.
In my eyes. Forward School or
not Leronomics.
Let me say, I like the Penang company, right? I like Easy Passer. Okay, I like Easy Passer. I like Clarence. He's a great entrepreneur. He is an alumni of the Coach and Grow program as well. I think they've executed really, really well. They have built on what they have. They've gone to many countries. So I think they've done really well.
Great. And I know the word that you love the most, Dr. Siva, is execution.
Execution.
You mentioned it in every single sentence so far. Well done.
I'll be a bit biased, I guess. For me, is Vitrox. I mean, if you see them as a tech company, they are one of the top, performers stock in Saham, and
So Penang is winning the race today. Yeah.
Penang has the best tech companies. So Karam, you have to meet the there. All right.
I'm from Penang.
Easy one. What's your first impression of Karam?
Hey, I don't like this question. You can skip. You can skip one question. So I suggest you skip.
Well, all I can say is I had to really look up to this guy and wondering, wow, who is this tall bayi man looking at me like this? Sorry, Karam. That wasn't
Roshan, this is back in 2000 in MDAC headquarters, right? Yeah.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, when Karam is in Penang, first time meeting him, fairly intimidating.
See, Karam, you don't have the warmth that I have,
No. It was intimidating because of my BO. I had to walk quite far to get to this place.
It's also because of the height as well, right?
Karam, by the way, Karam is going to shave it off for every shave that he does. If you donate 150 ringgit to charity, he'll cut off more parts of it. So that's
the true impression I had of Karam was that this is one guy that asks really tough questions. Wow. And he can really put people in a spot. And that is really the impression I had of Karam.
Nice.
And it doesn't matter who, government people and all of that, right?
Yes.
Karam
He'll grill you.
Well done, Karam. Something I have to learn from you. Okay, describe 2020 in one word. This is easy, one word. And one word means one word, just one word.
Challenging.
And Howie?
Tough.
Okay. I'm going to close up this segment because we ran out of time. Dr. Siva, if I can give Dr. Sivapalan, if you can give us one sort of nugget of wisdom to take away, your final thoughts, what would it be? And then I'll go to Howie after this. What would you like to leave with our viewers?
I think the one wisdom I like to say is this, right? I mean, 2020 has been a really challenging year. It's been a really tough year, okay? But surprisingly, many companies, tech companies inclusive, have actually made it through 2020, right? Despite all the difficulties. There was a research that came from Magic that said 42% will fail and all of that, right? Or even 80% will fail within 12 months. But from my experience, many of them have made it. So the message I want to leave everybody is this. everyone, if you can make it through probably I'm an old guy, I'm 60 years old. I've been through a lot of challenging times, okay? If you can get through probably the most challenging period in your lifetime, you can achieve anything. And this means, you can create great companies, you can make a real difference, you can be really disruptive. So going forward, just say to yourself, I made it through the worst thing in the world ever in my history. I'm going to make it really big, from next year.
This is our generation's World War I or World War II, essentially.
Yes.
And if we can make it through that, I think we can do a lot more.
You can do anything, man. You can do anything.
As you talk, you can see Karam is getting darker and darker. He's moving into the shadows. Becoming brighter and brighter.
It's so profound, but I mean, that's why Siva, you're a great mentor. So those are really good.
And how are your final thoughts?
Yeah, I think I concur with Dr. Siva on this. I think it's a tough and challenging year, but I'm convinced that this is the fire that we all need. And it's good to be, test yourself, obviously in terms of, the grit skill for everyone, it's being tested. And, and they say that what doesn't kill you makes you stronger. And I think in every sense of the word, this season, at least for myself as a leader and for Forward School, it has been very, very helpful for us to, discipline ourselves and think for the future. I think if there's anything that we learn from this, and it has made us definitely much more paranoid. And I think in business and in a startup, being paranoid, it's a good thing. That you're always thinking ahead. So I think all in all, yes, it's been tough, it's been challenging, but I just want to encourage everyone, including those who are starting up. Again, there's no good time to be starting a company, and perhaps even at the darkest hour, this would be potentially your best time to start a company.
Great. And there was one of the greatest tech guys is former Intel head Andrew Grove, who said only the paranoid survive. So
only the paranoid survive.
Playing around with your paranoid word. And so final thoughts from the beard himself. I mean, Karam. Sorry, Karam. Final thoughts.
I just want to share 2 points actually, which is that I think we ran a story yesterday, which is the Mastercard and Fletcher School, right, in the US from Tufts University. They produce a digital intelligence index once every 3 years. So this is the third time they've done it. And if you look at the article we've ran, Malaysia is actually in the standout category, and we are actually ranked 26 in the world. I think they ranked 80 countries, and we are 26. And my point being that despite the weaknesses that Dr. Siva talks about, I mean, he also has seen the progress that we've made as a country, right, as an ecosystem. We are doing a lot of things right, and that comes from the entrepreneur level. Crazy people like Howie doing what they're doing, and from Doc Siva also, and even from Roshan, who's now raising money from his equity crowdfunding platform. We've got amazing talent in this country. Not enough, yes, but we've got amazing talent, and I think we can one day be a winner in the digital economy. Winner, as defined by us, being one of the top 15 countries in the world to transition successfully to a digital economy. So go and look at that index, right? The Digital Intelligence Index, lots of good stuff there. And you can see how Malaysia compares with our region, our neighbors in ASEAN also, although we have looked beyond ASEAN. Because when the economy is digital, you're not just competing with your neighbors, right? And quickly, the last point is, congratulations to Surina Shukri, MDEC CEO. There was an inaugural survey, Roshan, that came out, right, by the World Economic Forum's Global Future Council on Agile Governance. It's quite a mouthful. And a company called Apolitical. And they pick 50 people around the world who they feel are revolutionizing and improving, governance, right, on the digital economy. And Surina was chosen. And actually, MDEC, when they issued a press release, they had a long list of the various initiatives MDEC does. And I encourage you to go and bookmark that article. And it's a quick way for you to see the various initiatives MDEC are doing. And I also gave a shout out to Yasmin Mahmood, the former CEO, because a lot of these initiatives were started during her time. But of course, there's momentum. So Surina has come and carried on building on those. and they've created some new initiatives also. So I think there's a lot of good still going on in the ecosystem, but I agree with Siva, we've got to do way much more because we can achieve so much more.
Very good. So thanks, and thanks for the call out. For those who don't know, we're doing a Series A with Funnel, so check it out. Also, to our another partner, Evox, they're also doing another seed round. I guess I'm not so sure, but that's in pitching. Evox is a new
tech company.
Yes, and finally, thanks so much to Nicole, right, for supporting us in this program. So Nicole.app, check out their website. Karam, Dr. Siva, Howie, thanks so much. It's been a great show. I managed to make it in the end, so great to smear the show with my indecency for a little bit. But thank you so much. I wish everyone a fantastic weekend ahead. Some of you on holiday today, so the weekend already started.
Still a public holiday, which I didn't know about.
Some in Selangor, it's a holiday. For the rest,
it's only in Selangor.
And we will see you next Friday at 6 p.m. So we're 6 p.m. now. So a lot of people are checking in now and saying, hey, they think we're on now. We've moved to 6 p.m. to enable Karam to have dinner early and then sleep early. Because
we're pivoting. No, I'm trying my new lighting effect also gradually gets darker because to give Roshan the message that we're going to end the show. Nothing else to watch.
There you go. He talks for 45 minutes and I come in for 5 minutes and I have to miss. All right, there we go. All right.
I'm lucky if I can get 5 minutes in.
And we're going to end with Dato' Nor Rahmanov, who says, great conversation. Whatever was being talked, I don't know, but it was great apparently. So well done, everyone. Thank you. And
thank you.
Great weekend to everybody. This is
goodbye.
Thank you, Karan. Thank you, Roshan.
All right.